comes the big grand finale at the Triple Crown Sparkler live stage. We'll be tomorrow at Aurora Sports Complex for more live stage action, but I would be bummed out that it's the end of the night because it means it's all winding down. But the end of the night means I get to talk to Tony Rico with Firecrackers, and so we'll do that right now. I'm Thad Anderson, and it's been quite a night, as it always is at the Sparkler Festival night, carnival going on around here. Now, Firecrackers, you played one of those showcase games over here a minute ago,
yeah.
And so before we get into other details, give us a quick game summary of what just happened on this field.
Well, we've been fortunate enough to play in the Power Pool Showdown, I think they call it, and for a few years here, and it's always a great game to be part of this exciting night. Tonight we had Scotty Smith's Texas Bombers. He's a great coach. He has a great program, strong brand. It's always an exciting game. Went back and forth for a little bit. Ended up going our way, but it really could have went either way. So, but it was a great ball game. It's fun to be part of.
Yeah, when you get 13 runs scored and one team has 7, somebody wins, but that settles nothing, really. I mean, all that means is next time we play, it's going to be another step up the notch of competition.
You got to try to beat somebody twice, so those are tougher odds. So we look at it either way. It can be tough.
Yeah, we were over here doing interviews on the stage with a whole array of people, and so I was mostly looking this direction like I am now, but I kept hearing really loud gasps and screams and cheers from that field. It sounded like there was a lot of excitement and some big plays in the game.
I think that's probably when we were throwing the ball around. We Scotty did a good job.
Was that you gasping and screaming?
That was might have been one of our coaches who will remain nameless, but they did a good job of putting the ball in play, and we started throwing the ball around, and they scored a few runs on it. So that's what I would guess that the gasps were about.
Firecrackers organization well represented. In fact, earlier tonight we had Sophia Carroll and A.J. Carroll, who play for Firecrackers Hinkle, out of the Phoenix area, and they're a couple of rising sophomores in high school who have already committed to Arizona to play for Mike Candrea.
Huge opportunity.
Yeah, how about that, being a 14, 15-year-old kid and working that side of things. So we had both of them up here and interviewed them, and they got a chance to get them a little stage time, a little microphone time. I was intimidated.
Excellent.
They were very good. And when I grew up, I want to be either Sophia or A.J. Carroll.
I hear you.
I would be all fine with that. Firecrackers organization, give us update us on the footprint now. I mean, you've been growing and you've expanded. You're all over the country, and you and I've talked about that. Some people look at that, they kind of give you a little, what's that all about? But I know you have a mission and a purpose to that. Tell us more about it.
Yeah, well, it's new. Well, what we've done is it was new to the to the softball culture. It started about 6 years ago, and you're right. I mean, people I think look at what we do and what I am. It's dehumanized me a little bit, but I'm happy to be in the front of trying to create a precedence for other coaches and other organizations to follow. This is a scholarship business. I mean, there's no bones about it. You ask any group of these girls who's not here to try to get themselves to college, and that's the great opportunity that they have. So providing a platform, a professional platform where coaches, players, and parents can learn how to construct themselves, give them guidance and advice so that it doesn't have to be such a stressed out, bloody mess all the way until you commit to a college. So we've expanded, not by asking anybody to ever join our organization. In fact, we have an administrator that's kind of like a customs agent. She listens to an inquiry, and then if they haven't done their homework, we're not the right program for them. We're not looking to extract people. We're looking to provide support and guidance to people that are trying to find their way down the scholarship road. You mentioned footprint. The footprint's getting bigger. So we fluctuate with the amount of teams. It's a learning curve. As long as coaches are willing to learn from their mistakes, we don't expect them to be perfect when they join us, but learn from their failures and just hold the course and get better. It's been very rewarding. The cultural build has been most rewarding. The cultural identity. So understanding that we're successful on paper, but we stand for things. One of those being what's across my chest. And, when you mention to somebody that our number one ingredient in our recipe for success is the golden rule, they kind of roll your eyes at you and say, really, you got to treat people nice, and that's part of it. So the expansion has been great, Thad. And, hey, I get snickers, and some people look at me funny, and then I get a handshake. It's all good, though. I don't mind it. It's all good.
Yeah. Yeah, and the number of – we were just talking about a few of them who are, some of your alums who are running around here. And that's really it over time, the relationships and the outcomes and watching people become good, viable adults who contribute positively.
Absolutely.
How long have you been at this?
Woo.
Or don't you
26 years.
26?
Yeah, if I take my hat off, I'm old enough. I don't have any hair anymore. But 26 years of coaching the sport, and I've loved every minute of it. If you would ask me 26 years ago if I'd love it for the next 26, I don't know how I would have answered that, but I wouldn't. I'd live my life 10 times over the same way. It's been great.
Well, you were a baseball guy coming up, right? What was it about the game of softball that drew you in?
Nothing about the game. I think I was I was bribed. I was a guy that played ball, and I had a circumstance, became a single parent, so I'm looking to be able to raise my own kids and do something where I could make a living and still pay my bills. So like a lot of other people, I used my past playing experience, fortunate to play for some good programs, great coaches, and start doing some lessons like a lot of people do. There was a gentleman named Gary Wardine that I'd always have to mention because he started the Firecrackers. He's the founder of the Firecrackers, and he had a business plan the whole way through. So he asked me quite a few times, right around 1991 or 1990, to join, and I turned him down. Told him no, probably 3 or 4 times. Finally, I said yes, and I came out. So it wasn't the sport that drew me out; it was a guy's persistence. When I came out here, I was amazed at how many games they played, how many at-bats they were getting at 12 years old, and the energy on the field. And then the game is such a fast-paced game, so I became addicted really fast. And here I am 26 years later.
Yeah, that's got some staying power in your life.
Yeah.
What's, like, for example, a game like you just played, what's going through your mind? I mean, you've played a lot of one-run games, right side of it, wrong side of it. What's happening in those moments when everybody in the crowd's thinking, 3-2 pitch or something? And what are you thinking? Because when you go through that enough, I think it changes how you watch a game or how you watch competition. Yeah.
Well, I have a little bit of different role now. We have one of the greatest coaches in the country, Rob Weil, running our field operations now. So with all of my responsibilities, it's really important to maintain the integrity of this team. I've got a lot of hats right now, and we were really fortunate to have Coach Rob join us about 3 years ago. So before, I was calling every pitch in the third base box, managing every play, and that's a different mindset because you're creating circumstance in the game. Now I sit a couple layers back, and the term that goes through my head always is, I'm slowing people down. We need to slow this game down. We ultimately want our kids to become comfortable with discomfort. This game has crisis and stress in it, and you have to learn how to think through it, just like in a lot of professions. So my role now is sitting back and watching how everybody's experiencing the stress. So being down 4-0, things, making errors, you get a certain competitive reaction, but it's the learned behavior that I'm proud of. And you've got to set example as being a leader.
So you have a lot of levels of play going on with the Firecrackers, but you've got that top level going. And we were just talking before. I was looking Oklahoma roster this year, the national champions. We got about a dozen Firecrackers alums on there. Florida, who competes against them in the championship series, you got some folks there. You got kids sprinkled across all these rosters. Yeah. But you got a lot of kids who also are getting opportunities at a whole array of levels of ball. Point. And I think that's sometimes a lot, especially in this mix, where it's the eye popper is to, hey, there goes Coach.
Sure.
Champion, Coach whoever.
Sure.
And that's
where
where
I goes Lauren Chamberlain, home run. Sure.
But there's the vast percentage of these players are going to very viable opportunities that are not names that you would immediately snap your neck around at.
I think that's a great point, Thad, because 90% of our players across the country on a 1 through 4 rating scale, 4 being an All-American, you have to have something that puts you on the map. So you get your leverage with rings, with All-Americans, but 90% of our players are 2 to 2.5, meaning they're not the eye candy, they're not the pool holes, they're not the Bryce Harpers, but they absolutely know how to play this game. And if we can't create a business plan to give every player in this organization value, that's a bad business plan. And the value comes from understanding their level of beauty, it sounds a little corny, their dignity, their integrity. If they can maintain their integrity while their tears are coming down but not lower their head, to me that's I'd like to think that's what their grandmothers would appreciate. So all of our girls across the country, and it seems like they all go to school. It's a great return. I mean, the stress that people go through, I get it. I'm here to reassure them. They're all going to college. You just don't know when. So they all go. There's great universities across the country, and we're really proud of all the 90% because they're the majority of our organization.
I know you were awarded something, a little hardware to take home the other night for the U.S. club rankings, top club in the country. And I know it feels like you're usually quick to kind of move on to the next topic when we talk about that kind of stuff. But congratulations on what you achieved there.
Appreciate it.
It's a big recognition. But we'll take that to a better spot that I know you'd rather
Thanks
be
for
at.
moving me on along. I'm just not narcissistic. I do like to deflect that, and what I have been talking about we had a national championship last year and the rankings and things, but I really want people to understand this. And one of our coaches posted this on our social media on a picture on the award, is that he said when one of us wins, Tony wants us to know that we all win. And he couldn't have hit it on the head anymore. It's not one man. It's not one team. Everybody's a part of our success. So for myself, I happen to be a Dodger Angel fan. Everyone's got their home team, but when they win, we all win. We feel good about it. And our culture across the country, they all need to know that we represent each other. So I'm proud of the championship for that we call it a people's championship. It's not a championship of arrogance, conceit, and division. It's for the people. It sounds a little corny, but it really was. So it was a lot of fun.
You're in Colorado now, and people were just getting excited about the Rockies, and they had to go play the Dodgers and things. And then everybody got nervous again because, oh no, maybe it's not for real again this year. And who's this Kershaw guy anyway? So
I'll be honest with you there real quick. The Dodgers are playing so well right now that it scares the heck out of me because they're getting a lot of breaks, and they got to keep that going through September.
Now's not the time you want. Yeah.
Scares me. Yeah.
So as you deflect, I know there's a guy, and I'm going to talk to him tomorrow night on one of these live stage interviews. But there's a patriarch, a man who's sort of at the core of all of this. I'm sure you would like to talk about.
Mr. Don Menard, he's one of our coaches, and you mentioned patriarch. Thad, again, the structure of this program, I'd be fooling everybody if I was the wisest one and had the most experience. So we all need counsel. We all need advice. And Don Menard has been coaching in this game over 30 years, probably closer to 40. He's going to be 80 years old, and watch him jump up here like nothing. I mean, he's in great shape. He moves great. We've lost a few of our patriarchs in the last 2 or 3 years, that natural order of life. And it's, being here and not seeing Harry sitting here, Coach John Diggs, Norm Perez would always sit down here at the fence and give the girls advice. And Don is our last one. So he's no more treasured now than he ever has, but you really do learn to appreciate every day and every weekend and really take these mental pictures that we have. So you're going to have a good time, and he's very subtle. I'm going to lose people with this one, but he reminds me of Charles Kuralt. He used to do this Saturday morning show, Sunday morning, and then he's Dean Martin on the other side of him. So he'll give you this intelligence, and he's brilliant, and then all of a sudden he'll come in with these one-liners, and you're going to have a good time with him, Thad. He's a great man.
Charles Kuralt and Dean Martin.
It's quite a combination.
I was going to ask if I could call him Yoda tomorrow, but it sounds like I need to call him some other stuff.
He's got that. He can get you to understand the law of the jungle, and the beauty of the world, and then he's going to come in with a one-liner, and you're going to realize this guy's pretty funny. He's really good.
Well, Triple Crown Sports puts on this giant party of softball, and I know you've developed among the various partnerships you have in the world of softball. The Firecrackers have developed a partnership with Triple Crown in a few varieties. Maybe update us on where those things are headed.
Gosh, the partnership with Triple Crown and the relationship has just been outstanding. I'll never forget the first year that they came into this tournament, and Elliot told me that if we won our way through the power pool, we'd have this TV game and there'd be 10,000 people at the park. And I looked at him, and I can't repeat exactly what I said to him, but I said, don't, let's not start this way. I've never seen 10,000 people at a travel ball.
We're on the internet. Park, you can say whatever you want. Go ahead and say it.
Well, I think I did that at the coaches meeting this week, so Dave would probably, he's probably a little nervous of what I'm doing right now. But honestly, the relationship has been great, and their concept of a must-attend event, which in the softball world, usually that means if you don't attend my event, I'm going to get mad at you, and I don't ever let you in another one. No, must-attend event for Triple Crown is that we want you to circle it on your calendar and say, we got to be there. And this night, Thad, there are 10,000 people here, and you got the Rockies right here. And this, honestly, for all the things that we get to experience, and we're going to be in Canada in a couple of weeks, and we're excited about that, but this is the best night of the year for us because of the energy, the events, the food, the sausages, the snow cones, everything. So I like to see kids around here with blue lips and red tongues and everything else because this is a night that they get to relax a little bit. Hopefully.
Yeah, before we start this conversation, you made about 6 references to those sausages, and you just brought it up again. I think
your staff has been eating back here, and so they've got plates and all kinds of stuff, and some of their lips are blue and things. So how do you not get hungry and you're smelling all that? I'm trying to eat healthier now, but kind of hard.
Yeah, of all the club and youth activity going on here, right over there is the NPF, the National Pro Fast Pitch League game. They're stacked about 3 or 4 deep behind the outfield fence the entire way across. The bleachers are full. The wraparound of this event, of everything that reaches from the youngest age of the game to the pinnacle of the game, really has become the must-attend part of it is just don't miss the memories. And that's why you got to attend.
Sure.
You're going to want to remember this down the line.
You don't forget it. And the other thing is that right now obviously, the growth of the sport, the College World Series this year, give me a break, So what you see now are these 8 and 10-year-old young girls looking at these older girls are going, I want to do that. I mean, I played drums because I saw a guy go up on the stage and make the whole auditorium scream, and I just pulled my teacher's arm off, said, I want to do that, what he's doing. And I'm seeing that influence a lot right now. It's not just because, a girl had 4 brothers playing baseball and she plays sports, or, they're playing because they see something they want to be part of. And so, again, there's a lot more than just playing the game and skills. Guys see a lot of skills. I learned as as working with young women, you got to see their behavior, their persona, and get them to understand that this is almost like being an actor or a dancer or a singer. You take the stage with a certain posture. And that's why even when we're losing games out here, you usually shouldn't see us lose our dignity, because we've lost the big picture there. I don't ever want to win a championship and not win it in here. If you're worried about things, you may win the game, but it's not a champion. So
I love that you brought in the world of performance. We had Katie Edwards up here just a little bit ago. She won the TC's Got Talent competition. She'll be a sophomore in high school this coming year. She sang, and she got voted on social media as the winner. And I was asking her some of those questions, and she didn't say it this way, but she basically led us to that fourth wall of performance, of theater. You don't break that fourth wall.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing here. And actually for umpires, it's the same way. Yeah. There's a fourth wall where when you're in that zone, that's the only thing going on. And that's actually what I love about the sport. I'm not big into sports talk radio and that kind of stuff, because you know what? We're all people. We all got families. We all got issues. We all got whatever we got. Go home and take care of your families. Live your life, whatever you're doing. Sure. But when we're out there, let's strap it up and let's go and let's have a great time.
Absolutely.
And I love that comparison you just made, because she was just talking about it. And she's a young kid just learning. There are crossovers between this musical performance thing I'm doing and this softball game I play.
And a lot of my comrade men here don't understand that, because they're still watching shoulders and elbows, and you're dropping and keep your hands up. And boy, can you imagine if their daughters were singers and they're going out there, can keep your hands up, and so it's just really a mentality. Now, I don't fault all the well-intended obsessive people out here trying to help their kids, because we set that precedent by you hear what other people say, and that's what I'm here to ask people to understand too, that girls have to feel good to play good. I didn't create that phrase. Mike Candrea was the first one that mentioned that to me a long time ago. And you have to create a state of mind. And we hold on to the results, but as men, we never question our skill. And so when you can develop that solid persona and that behavior, it's a no-lose situation. You mentioned the fourth wall, and I just had found the series The Office. And so if anybody that watches that show, they break that fourth wall all the time. There's going to be something here, and then you get that. Right at the camera.
I know you're out there,
and it is I just love that show. So, but it's very important. You got to keep things where they need to be.
Yeah, well, I know you got a busy week. It's Tony Rico with the Firecrackers. So before we let you go and get back to all your busyness, anything we didn't get to here that you want to make sure we get said?
Well, again, we do things within our organization, and I'm very proud to work with all of the coaches and everyone that's real well-intended, but it doesn't stop with the Firecrackers. So whether you like us or not, or understand that we respect everybody. We want everyone to have a good experience. Corny, big picture stuff, but there isn't enough happiness. There's too much obsession, too many fragmented relationships between fathers and daughters. I mean, I tell them all the time, the last thing you guys ever want to hear is your daughter telling you when she's 34 years old, hey, Dad, want to know why your granddaughter doesn't play softball? Because she didn't want that long ride home like I got all the time. And if we can take that step back and learn to appreciate the things, what ends up happening is these girls that have been playing 10 to 12 years, Thad, they're not broken when they go 1 for 12. Maybe they just swung at some bad pitches. Maybe they learned to calm down. But you don't need to double up on their lessons. You don't need to go spend twice the money to get them fixed, because once you're a black belt, you're a black belt. But we don't hand out black belts here. So I'd like all the girls and everyone that plays this sport, the longer you've been playing it, you develop mastery. Own that. The mistakes are in the game. So always appreciate talking to you, and appreciate the relationship I've had with you over the years too.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and you got a ways to go still. You're looking spry and ready to roll for another 20, another 30.
I want to live my life for another 26 years. I love what we're doing. We'll keep going as long as it's great.
Just lay off
right now. It's great.
Lay off those sausages over there, and you'll probably.
I gotta watch what I eat, because I've learned a term called back fat this year that showed up on my back. It wasn't on my front; it was on my back. So I said we gotta change some things around here. I started running on the beach instead of driving by it.
Yeah, well, that's a great way to use the beach.
Exactly.
That's Tony Rico, and I'll say good luck this week, but I guess more importantly, have fun and have a good time with the time you get with all the players in your program.
Always appreciate it. Always a pleasure. Thank you, sir.